you never expected to happen to you. You hear about these things on the news in the safety of your living room. People talk about strange incidents in neighborhoods that seem far removed from your own, but you assume your street is different. Safe. Predictable. The trimmed hedges and locked doors give a false sense of security. But sometimes they're just set pieces. That Tuesday, my story became the headline. My name's Chloe. I'm a data analyst, which is really just a fancy way of saying I work from home analyzing spreadsheets and data trends while surviving on caffeine and routine. My days are quiet. My world is built around numbers, logic, and the soothing hum of my laptop. The most unpredictable thing in my life is deciding between green tea or another latte. It was a normal afternoon. The sun filtered through the blinds in golden lines, casting warm stripes across the wooden floor. I was knee-deep in quarterly figures when the knock came. Not a light tap, not a friendly knock. No, this was 3 brutal, deliberate pounds, like someone trying to punch through the wood. The sound reverberated through the house, setting every nerve on edge. My hands froze above the keyboard. No deliveries, no appointments. A sick pulse of dread rose in my throat. Slowly, silently, I padded to the door in sock feet and looked through the peephole. 2 men, dressed in navy uniforms that didn't look quite right. Cheap fabric, suspiciously crisp lines. The kind of thing you'd find in a costume store. The bold white letters across their chest read HOA. I blinked. Our homeowners association was a retired couple who sent email reminders about lawn maintenance. They didn't send out goons. One of the men was broad with a clipboard under his arm. The other leaned against the porch railing, arms crossed, dark sunglasses hiding his eyes. There was tension in his posture, the kind that screamed power play. I analyzed patterns. That's what I do. And this was wrong. I cracked the door slightly, the chain still latched. Can I help you? The stockier one step forward. Marcus, I'd later learn. His expression was stone. Routine compliance inspection. This property's logged multiple violations. He flipped a page like he was auditioning for a TV role. Unauthorized furniture on the patio. He barked, gesturing to 2 wicker chairs. Exterior paint not approved. My house hadn't changed color in a decade. And he squinted, excessive lawn decor. I followed his gaze to a single flamingo my grandma gave me. It was almost comical. These are serious infractions, he said, eyes hard. You're in violation of community guidelines. Behind him, parked along the curb, was a plain gray van. No decals, no license plate I could see. Its windows were tinted like sunglasses. A deep unease settled into my bones. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. If there's an issue, file it the usual way, through the HOA portal or email. I started closing the door, but the second man, Leo, sprang into action. He jammed his foot into the gap. The door jerked to a halt. We're going to need you to come with us, he said coldly. A nervous laugh escaped me. That's not happening. The chain rattled under pressure. My heart stopped. The line between weird and dangerous vanished. Marcus pulled a badge from his belt. I leaned in. It was plastic, cheaply laminated. Not real. You're not with the HOA? I whispered. Everything changed in that instant. Marcus lunged. His shoulder slammed into the door, splintering the frame. The chain gave. He was inside. His hand clamped around my wrist with terrifying force. I screamed. Not a movie scream. A guttural, desperate howl. The kind of sound your body makes when it knows you might not survive. Leo threw the door wide. Sunlight flooded in, but it felt cold. I was being pulled across my own threshold, my own lawn, like a criminal. I needed my phone. As Marcus yanked me forward, I dropped my weight, pretending to trip. My left hand fumbled in my pocket. I hit the power button 3 times. A distress signal. Code Sierra. My brother Ethan taught me that after his last deployment. It was our silent cry for help. As I tumbled forward, I kicked the phone beneath a bush lining the porch. It vanished into the shadows. Moo! Marcus barked. Pain tore through my knees as they scraped the concrete, but I barely felt it. They were dragging me toward the van. Leo opened the side door. The inside was gutted, lined in plastic, a roll of duct tape, zip ties, and something dark and cloth-like. A hood. This wasn't a scam. This was a kidnapping. I fought, thrashed, clawed, but they were too strong. One hand was jammed between my shoulder blades. The other twisted my arm painfully. I was seconds from vanishing. 10 miles away, in a sterile office, my brother Ethan was in a therapy session at the VA. A kind, soft-spoken therapist was guiding him through breathing exercises. Feel the ground beneath you. Be here now. But Ethan was never just here. Part of him was still overseas, still in firefights, still checking rooftops for snipers. Civilians didn't understand, and he never expected them to. His phone buzzed. One long vibration. He checked it under the table. The message made his blood run cold. Code Sierra. He stood immediately. I have to go. Ethan. But he was already out the door. Outside, he jumped into his black Dodge Ram. He opened a compartment under his seat, typed in a code, and pulled out a Kimber 1911 handgun. Checked the magazine. Loaded. He opened the tracking app on his phone. Chloe's signal, green dot, was outside her house. Not moving. Something was wrong. He floored it. Back at my house, Marcus was shoving me forward. The van loomed inches away. Leo stood waiting, a smug grin beneath his glasses. But something shifted. A sound. A deep growl of an engine. Getting louder. Closer. Angry. Leo turned. His face changed. Marcus paused. I looked up and saw it. A black truck flying down the street like a missile. Ethan. He didn't swerve. Didn't slow. The truck barreled into the van with a roar of metal. The impact was thunder. The van launched sideways, crashed onto its side, glass and steel exploding everywhere. I flew from Marcus's grip, hit the grass, dazed. Smoke. Screams. The smell of burning rubber. Ethan stepped out of the truck. Calm. Controlled. A storm in human form. Leo tried to run. Ethan tackled him mid-step, slammed him into the ground. Marcus staggered. Ethan grabbed him by the collar and threw him against the wrecked van. You touch my sister? Ethan's voice was deathly quiet. Marcus choked out excuses. Ethan cut him off, his forearm pressing into his throat. He turned to Leo, now sobbing, crawling away. Ethan pinned him under a boot. Stay down. He pulled Leo's wallet, found a photo of a little girl and woman. This your family? Leo whimpered. Start talking. Leo broke. He gave up everything. A warehouse. Pier 4. A cover network. Names. Ethan committed it all to memory. He snapped photos of their faces. The sirens came minutes later. Police cruisers. Ambulances. An unmarked sedan. A detective stepped out. Wallace. Grizzled. Tired. Ethan greeted him. These two impersonated HOA agents and tried to abduct my sister. I stopped them. Wallace glanced at the wreckage, the van, the weapons inside. You okay, ma'am? He asked me. I nodded slowly. I think so. The detective wrote his notes, took statements, but his tone softened too quickly. Looks like a scam gone wrong, he muttered. These types just want valuables. No, I insisted. They weren't bluffing. There were restraints in that van. A hood. Wallace gave a half smile. Intimidation tactics. Nothing more. They'll serve time. He closed his notebook. Done. As his car drove off, Ethan turned to me. He's not going to dig, he said flatly. Not deep enough. But the warehouse. If I tell them how I got that info, they'll dismiss it. Maybe arrest me. We can't trust them. Not yet. He retrieved my phone from the bush. Handed it to me. They came for you. For a reason. This wasn't random. That night, our roles came back. Ethan the soldier boarded up the broken door. I, the analyst, powered up my laptop. The company tied to the van? A shell. Suburban Compliance Solutions, LLC. Just 3 weeks old. Funded by Apex Property Management. Apex is fake too, I said, heart racing. But it shares a digital address with a dozen other companies. All home service related. They've built a web, Ethan muttered. Fake fronts. Like a shadow HOA. And the warehouse is real, I said, pulling up blueprints. Pier 4. Cargo containers. No cameras nearby. We exchanged a look. The war wasn't over. It had just begun, and we were taking the fight to them.